What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean O'Malley reacts to Merab training partner footage. Some recent video footage of Merab sparring in advance of UFC 316 likely raised more than a few eyebrows, and it sounds like this includes the man he will actually be facing, Sugar Sean O'Malley. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Dvalishvili and O'Malley are set to run it back in the headliner of the June 7th card, as Sugar lost the bantamweight title to the grappling machine last September. Recently, ESPN's Brett Okamoto shared out some footage of Merab sparring with a teammate, who clearly was trying to mimic Sugar's footwork and movement. Well, during a recent episode of Tim Welsh's podcast, O'Malley was asked about how he's developed elite footwork and feints. Sugar proceeded to tip his hat to Merab's sparring partner, before relaying that he thought the clip might have been a skit.
Shit, you're asking the wrong dude. You gotta ask Merab's sparring partner, that one guy. Tim showed me this video of this kid Merab sparring with, and holy shit. I thought it was a comedy, and then it was serious.
I mean, the kid wasn't doing a bad job.
It wasn't, but it was a little excessive.
It was.
Yeah,
It was just like kind of bucking himself, looking, and like throwing.
Twitching. It was funny.
It is interesting to see that Welsh acknowledged that the sparring partner was doing a decent job of imitating Sugar, but what do you think? And do you see O'Malley avenging his loss at UFC 316 and reclaiming the bantamweight belt? Chael Sonnen concerned for Ilia Topuria ahead of Charles Oliveira fight. Since it was announced that Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira are going to battle at UFC 317, the consensus seemed to be that El Matador will secure the lightweight throne. But following the news that Topuria has split with his longtime coaches, more than a few people are reevaluating that prediction. Chael Sonnen is one of them. Not long ago, it was announced that Topuria is no longer working with Jorge and Agustin Clement, who helped make the Spain-based fighter the combat terror he is. Well, since the news dropped, Sonnen weighed in on the split, and here was some of what he had to say. It's a hard story for me to look at. I just know I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have done it. If one day Clayton, Sonnen's coach, calls me up and tells me he's out, I would have been done. I wouldn't have done it, and I could overcome a lot of things, but not that. Now, this was by choice. This wasn't a like Mike Tyson and Customato, just for example. This was by choice, but you're still somewhere else. And I know plenty of people in different sports that have tried. The former title challenger proceeded to note that many sports icons have had renowned coaches. Mayweather has a coach, Mike Tyson has a coach, Serena has a coach, LeBron has a coach, Kobe has a coach, Tiger Woods. They've all got a coach. Everybody has somebody. Whether it's knowledge, inspiration, or that extra drive, but everybody has a coach. Do you have a different take on how the Oliveira-Topuria fight could play out, since Topuria has split from his coaches so close to the fight? Of course, Topuria's decision has also raised a lot of questions as to why he's decided to do this right now. But according to Jorge Clement, it's not because their relationship with Topuria has gone down the drain. Clement recently told Hablemos MMA this: "There's a lot of people that like to give their opinions without knowing the reality. This was a consensus. We have a lot of years of friendship. The management team came out saying that we were splitting and all that, but the truth is that we're in Alicante and they're in Madrid. I have my family, my gym, my students, and tons of projects that I've invested time in. I have my reality series, my MMA promotion, so Ilia left Alicante last year. He built a gym at his house. We got to accompany him in the camps, but had so many things to do in Madrid. His brother went with him. He has certain needs that I cannot fulfill because I can't be permanently with him in Madrid like Javi did, the boxing trainer that is now living with them." The coaching change aside, recently Topuria's camp shared out video of him working his hands, and the former featherweight champ looks ready. Do you think Topuria looks set for a run at lightweight? Alexander Volkov frustrated with Jon Jones for heavyweight division situation. Alexander Volkov is frustrated with the current state of the UFC's heavyweight division and blamed Jon Jones for him not getting a title shot. Here's what he had to say. "Of course I have a negative opinion about the delay of the Jones-Aspinall fight, because my chances to fight for the championship title are getting smaller and time is running out. In other weight classes, there's a real conveyor belt of fights. That's why I'm unhappy. I would have had a chance to test myself in a title fight a long time ago if it weren't for Jon Jones. But I can understand him. The UFC gives him this privilege. He feels like he is the master of the situation. Jon knows that he will be valuable to the UFC in any case, and he just takes advantage of it. And the question here is not so much about Jon Jones, but about the fact that the UFC allows him to behave this way and shows excessive loyalty to him. As a result, everyone is waiting for it." Daniel Cormier interested in coaching Russian Tough with Jon Jones. Now that Nate Diaz is no longer coaching on ALF Global, the Russian equivalent of Tough, Daniel Cormier has expressed an interest in heading over to Thailand to coach opposite of his rival, Jon Jones. Not only that, DC is reporting that he was initially offered the gig, but turned it down. Not long ago, it was reported Diaz had left the show, following a brawl he and his team had with some Russian fighters. It's been speculated that some of the Russian fighters on the show didn't care for Diaz on account of his well-documented feud with Khabib Nurmagomedov, who, as you know, is kind of a big deal in Russia. Well, not only has Jones talked about how he's loving the food over in Thailand and how he's being treated, but he's also talked about how things can get crazy real quick. While some folks might be intimidated by such an environment, clearly DC isn't one of them. On his YouTube channel, the legend had this to say about what Jones reported.
The reason I said that I'm more interested in this show today, after what Jones said, man, sign me up for Russian Tough. So Jones goes, I've been around the Bushido spirit for a long time. Martial arts spirit, where everybody has a certain degree of kind of rules that you don't cross. I don't think there's a lot of that here. Some guys are warriors. They're like warriors, and some guys are really just kind of street fighters. There are insults. There are weapons. I mean, this show, there's nothing like it. How in the world, if you're a coach or a personality, how could you not want to be involved in something like this where Jon Jones is telling you, this kind of scares me a little bit? I mean, honestly, that's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. Like, man, this is crazy out here. I should have did the show, man. I really should have did the show, because in this world, I would have thrived. I would have loved it.
What do you make of what Jones is reporting about the show? And would you like to see Cormier head over to Thailand to coach opposite Bones? Jorge Masvidal, new Russian tough coach. Footage was shared that revealed that Jorge Masvidal might be the new Russian tough coach after Nate Diaz left the show. In the footage, you can see Masvidal at the Russian tough house and already dealing with drama between the fighters.
I love my Russian, man. I love it. Oh man, no, but action! Woo! My boys are getting after it, man. Let's go, huh?
Masvidal responded to the MMA community, calling him fat with the following video.
What's up, man? I think you said some comments, and I was like, you know what? I think you're right, bro. As you can tell, I stay fat, brother. But I still not.
UFC updates. Let's take a look at some fights that have been added to the UFC's upcoming schedule. Recently, Real Kevin K reported that two rising forces in the middleweight division, Anthony Hernandez and Roman Dolidze, will throw down on August 9th. The compelling fight will headline the UFC's Vegas card that day. Hernandez recorded a unanimous decision over Brendan Allen in his last fight, which took place in February. Meanwhile, Dolidze is riding a 3-fight winning streak. In March, Dolidze worked his way to a UD win over Marvin Vettori to avenge his 2023 decision loss to the contender. Recently, it's also been announced that the UFC's July 12th Nashville card will include a middleweight contest between Ateba Gautier and Robert Valentin. Gautier is looking to build on a KO win he scored over Jose Medina in March. Valentin, meanwhile, could be in a must-win situation as he's lost 2 straight. His last loss, however, was via split decision to Taurus Finney in April. Vesnik MMA recently reported that the UFC's June 21st card in Baku, Azerbaijan will see lightweights Miktigbek Orobai and Tofik Musayev throw down. Orobai is looking to get back in the win column after losing via split decision to Mateusz Rebecki in October. Musayev, meanwhile, will be making his Octagon debut after fighting for organizations like Rizin and Bellator, among others. Musayev has not fought since November 2023, when he stopped Koji Takeda. Jon Jones reacts to being kicked by Hasbulla. As we discussed earlier, Jon Jones is over in Thailand coaching on the Russian equivalent of TUF, ALF Global. As it turns out, Hasbulla has also been on set, and it looks like he's been giving it to Bones, as in trying to choke him out with the help of an ear bite. And during a recent interview Jones did, he reported the following about Hasbulla. Me and Hasbulla have been having a great time. We fight almost every single day. Right now, I got a bloody lip. They may have kicked me in the mouth, but we have good times. He's very strong, and he knows how to fight. Yeah, we have fun. Now, if we could only see someone like Tom Aspinall trying to kick Jones in the cage. While it remains to be seen if and when that fight happens, Jones continues to trade jabs with fans online. For example, recently, he had this exchange with a fan. The most insecure high-level athlete in history? Sweet, give me a record for that as well. I'll take it. Who do you think won this back and forth? Cory Sandhagen made $2 million on OnlyFans? Cory Sandhagen has established himself as one of the best bantamweights in the world and has headlined plenty of cards at this point. But recently, he turned heads by reporting he's making serious cash via OnlyFans. And no, apparently this is for real. Sandhagen recently sat down with Mike Perry, and Platinum asked him about recent talk that the Sandman made $2 million in just 1 month through his OnlyFans account.
You made $2 million in a month on OnlyFans? How did you do that?
No,
You was busting them out over there? What you was doing?
It was literally just my balls. It was just a bunch of pictures of my.
Out of here. You
Yeah.
put your balls on OnlyFans?
Yep.
Get out of here. No, you didn't, dude.
Yep, even though Sandhagen has confirmed these reports, chances are there's still a lot of folks in disbelief. What do you make of Sandman's high-paying side gig? Joe Rogan demands change in UFC heavyweights. The UFC's heavyweight division still features many of the most dangerous men to ever walk the planet. But recently, Joe Rogan admitted that he was more intrigued by the division when it was believed that more heavyweights were on the special sauce. And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. Further, Rogan and various guests have talked about how prevalent PEDs were believed to be before the UFC started its partnership with USADA. Case in point, while talking with former NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers recently, Rogan repeated this theme. Further, the comedian and analyst cited how jacked and menacing Alistair Overeem looked in particular during that time.
Alistair Overeem's the greatest example. Yeah. Alistair, when he fought Brock Lesnar, got tested, and he was saucy as. And then they make him take the tests, and he becomes a normal person with good fighting skills. Yeah. You know, I mean, he wasn't the Ubereem anymore, this destroyer. On the sauce, man. That guy was. I would love to see what an Alistair Overeem run on the sauce would have been. I don't want to see fat heavyweights. The out of here. I want Alistair back. Yeah. Get him back on the sauce. Alistair's like a vegan now.
You think Jon Jones fights this year?
I don't know. I hope so.
What do you think of Rogan's comments? And would you prefer if fighters were not tested at all? Or do you think trying to keep PEDs out of the game is the right way to go from a safety standpoint?